Well, professional provocateurs are really trained to do such things as sit-ins and campus riots, and also say they go into the NEA and into teachers' groups who don't know squat about what's going on. I mean, they may know something about their subject, but they don't know how words and phrases and slogans can be used to deceive, and they're trained in how to do that sort of thing. And agitation and provocation are divided not so much by method, but, just by the education that they've received, by the context. And it could be in education, it could be child rearing, it could be journalism, it could be entertainment, it could be media, science, medicine, the election process. And so that is the kind of thing that they are trained for, and they kind of pick these people. They hand-pick people that they think might be good at this at some point in their college, usually graduate career. Mm-hmm. And they say, hey, would you like to take a course in for, special credit and da-da-da-da. In fact, sometimes they do this. Well, I probably shouldn't even say this, but when I was at Justice Department, I was shocked one day to hear somebody say that he had been trained as a professional change agent.
Yeah.
And I thought, at that point, I still thought that the term change agent had been made up by conservatives because, that's what they tell everybody, that it was just an expression used to make people fearful and that kind of a thing, or to think that there was some kind of conspiracy and whatnot. And I kind of questioned him. I said, what do you mean you've been trained? You mean here at the Justice Department? He says, oh, yeah. He said, I was trained to handle focus groups and committees and, to go to the states whenever we wanted to promote a particular policy or whatever and garner support for that policy and so forth and so on. And so I realized, oh, my goodness. And then, of course, I knew Rand Corporation had trained such people. I knew there were other, like National Education Association. They had their National Training Lab. They had done that kind of thing. But, I just didn't think our government was doing it.
I know the feeling, Beverly.
I got back a dose of my own medicine real quick.
Oh, goodness. It's, that's what really chaps my hide the most. I mean, besides the fact that there's people who delight or take pleasure in other people's pain and suffering, but that your tax dollars are going to support this.
Yeah, and you don't even know it. But, one thing you just said, before I forget it, was really right, spot on. You said you can train yourself to be able to laugh at it. And you know what did it, when I realized I had crossed that barrier, I was still technically at Justice, but I had been detailed to another, bureaucracy, division, and it was President Al Gore's little thing, and so I went over there for a while, and I was going to be writing up papers and whatnot, and there was going to be a sexual harassment training course and also one on AIDS. And it was mandatory that all the employees go, that all the staffers go, and you had to sign up for whichever date. There were several dates given, and you had your choice, but you had to go. So, okay, I went to the one on AIDS, and there was this film about, how anybody can get it and how terrible it would be to be thinking that you could get it just from somebody sitting next to you or in the cubicle next to you or from a toilet seat or this, that, and the other. And they were going all around the subject, and I And I was listening and listening and listening, and of course everybody's shaking their head, yes, yes, yes. Oh yeah, these poor people. And they had testimonies on this film and everything. And finally, I could stand it no longer. I raised my little hand and I said, "Excuse me, but I think everybody sitting here knows that you cannot get AIDS or HIV from the person sitting next to you in a cubicle or from even a toilet seat or from, that's not what we're worried about. We're worried about the compromised immune system of the person who has HIV or AIDS sitting next to him, who is no longer has any immunity against things like tuberculosis or pneumonia, and therefore is contracting strains of these that are killing people because they have no immunity, and of course the strains are gotten out of control. What do you have an answer for people who are scared about that? I didn't even say it was a fact. I said this is what people are scared about. I said, do you have an answer for us there? If not, we might as well get up and go out and go home, or go back to our cubicles. And she hemmed and hawed. The facilitator did not know what to say, and everybody did. They got up and they left.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what you do. That's the way the game is played.
So you lived this, I mean, not only through your experiences, but through your associations or employment. I mean, you got to see this firsthand.
I got to see it firsthand, and I got to do something about it firsthand, because at that point, I was knowledgeable. At that point, I'd gotten curious, and, I was like, me, I'm a dog with a bone, and I can't let go. And so by that time, I had written pretty extensively on the subject of provocateurs and agitation and facilitators and that sort of thing. And of course, none of these guys, ever read anything. So I mean, they didn't read. So anyhow, they don't understand how opinion is molded. Mm-hmm. And if they just understood that, even in journalism, I mean, just take that little tiny piece of it, then they would understand a whole lot more and be able to handle these things. Because I'm sure there were plenty of people that were sitting there that were thinking, there's something wrong with this picture. There's something wrong with the film. There's something wrong with this film strip that we're watching. But they couldn't put their finger on what it was. And what it was their own fears that weren't being addressed. And all I did was bring it up.
Wow. But, having questions or opinions or thinking for yourself, that's not commonly tolerated in the group setting.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. There was a technical snafu here.
No, I was just saying that having opinions or questions or thinking for yourself is not commonly tolerated in the group manipulation setting.
No, it is not. And a lot of people don't know that they really don't have to say a whole lot. You do what the other side does. You plant seeds of doubt. Most of the time, that's all that's ever done to you anyway, is planting a seed, just, planting an idea. And that's what you need to grab up the moment it's offered. And then you will turn everybody that's there, or most of the people there, majority, against whatever it is, and then the provocateur, change agent, or facilitator can't get to first base. Now, you asked me, of course, what the difference was between these terms. Okay, a change agent or agent of change is trained to go into focus groups, go into group settings of some kind, and actually change people's minds, to get them to buy in, I think that's the best way to say it, to an opinion that, left to their own devices, most people would not accept would not buy into. Now, an agitator does that. It's more hardball.